And with that, welcome to part 3. I know I ended that last one on kind of a mean cliffhanger, but here we are. It's getting angsty again, but as I promised, there will be a happy end, and now let's go. But first, a word from today's sponsor, myself. I'm excited to tell you that I have new merch, and I love this. It's an idea that my mother helped me to come up with. It's a self-care line. So if you look at these designs and think, no, the complete text is the wrong way around, it's not, because you're supposed to only be able to read that when you look in the mirror, and every time you do, it should remind you that you are awesome and that you are loved and that you deserve it. And yeah, that's my new merch. Check it out in the link in the description. It will help me so much. With the code EARLYBIRD, you can get 10% off only for this month. And yeah, I don't pay myself well for this placement, so please check it out. The atmosphere was tense the whole day, and burying themselves in work only did so much. Eventually, they'd have to come home. Iwaizumi, to his surprise, was the last to arrive, aside from Hanamaki, of course. Still, seeing Oikawa resting his head in Matsukawa's lap, who read a manga, a recommendation from his co-worker, was an unexpected and yet refreshing sight. He'd have expected Oikawa would overwork himself again as a response to the stress. He certainly did. But nonetheless, no one said a word. It was eerily quiet, and in the silence rang Hanamaki's absence. The trainer settled on the couch next to his two boyfriends. Like an unspoken agreement, they all waited in silence for the one they loved. Today, things would be different. Today, things had to be different. It wasn't until about an hour later the tension grew with every second passing by, like a string slowly being stretched and torn until it would snap, when his phone suddenly broke the fragile silence, making them all jump. Iwaizumi's throat tightened as he saw the name on the display, yet he rushed to accept the call. "What do you want, Maki?" Immediately, all attention was on him. He could feel the gaze boring holes into his skull from afar and knew that Oikawa was mad for his harsh tone, but Iwaizumi couldn't forgive him just yet. Hajime. What? Talk clearly. Where are you? He barely heard the choked laugh. Or was it perhaps a cry? He couldn't tell, but his heart sped up regardless. Oikawa motioned tactically for him to put Maki on speaker while he tried to decipher the noises from the other end of the line. Hold on, I'll put you on speaker. He did, and placed his phone on the coffee table. In a matter of seconds, they were assembled around it. Hiro? Toru? Is Ise? I'm here. Where are you? Why aren't you home yet? Hanamaki's voice was odd, rough in a way, and broken. I'm sorry. He suddenly broke out into a coughing fit, fighting to force air back into his lungs. Iwaizumi frowned, his chest constricting with worry at the sound. Something was off. Hiro, we can talk about it once you're home. Just come home. I can't. I will never. A cry echoed from the other end of the line. Hiro? Of course you can come home. We are waiting for you. We love you. Toru. He said his name so fondly, carefully, almost as if he savored the moment, basking in the sound as if it was the last time he'd have it. I love you. More than anything. Tears welled up in the setter's eyes and were now freely falling from his face, staining the skin on his cheeks. Then come home. Hiro, Please, we need you here. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. Just come home. Iwaizumi felt the anxiety rising within him. He couldn't pinpoint the source, but something was horribly wrong. Another deep, ragged breath, followed by coughs, sounded from the phone. Okay, I'll come home. Just remember, I love you all so much. We know. We love you too. The relief was short-lived as more coughing interrupted them and the trainer could hear that he was fighting. Hanamaki was fighting to be able to talk to them. Hiro, listen closely. Where are you right now? It doesn't matter. It does matter. Please. Wait. I was on my way to the train station. Iwaizumi nodded slowly and pulled Matsukawa over to him, trying in vain to stay calm. Call an ambulance to that location, now. His eyes widened, but he didn't question it. He too had picked up on the fact that something was severely wrong. He got up, his phone in hand, but only went a couple of steps as he started pacing behind the couch. Hiro, what happened? What is wrong? For a moment there was nothing but rigid breathing and the occasional cry of pain. Then, please, don't do this. I wanted to hear. He coughed, his voice fading slowly. To his right he could hear Toru scream. To his right he could hear Toru's scared cry while Matsun tried explaining the situation to the emergency operator to the best of his abilities. You can. We are here. We won't leave. Hiro, please. I love you. Please, don't worry. You're an idiot, Maki. Of course we worry. We love you so much. Just come home. Please, Hiro. Please. I will. Don't cry, Toru. Despite his labored breaths, Iwa could hear the smile in his voice as he tried to cheer Toru up, as well as the silent goodbye, left unspoken between his words. Suddenly, his world blurred and he slumped over, unable to speak. He didn't know what was happening, or what he could do to prevent it, but Hanamaki's words seemed so final, like he was trying to wish them farewell, and he couldn't bear it. It was as if the world collapsed onto him, crushing him mercilessly beneath its weight. Hiro, please, hold on. Help is on the way. I didn't mean what I said. I love you. No reply. Hiro. He listened closely to any sound deriving from the phone, but nothing. Not even breathing. Hiro! Suddenly, he couldn't hear anything anymore. There was a high-pitched ringing drowning everything out. Aikawa's pleas, Matsun's hectic voice, and even his own scream for his loved one to answer. He jumped up, and the room started to sway before his eyes. No, this couldn't be happening. He didn't get the chance to. He couldn't say goodbye. He couldn't even apologize. The edges of his vision turned fuzzy, and he couldn't think clearly anymore. His eyes were glued to the phone on the table, unable to process the meaning behind the past minutes, behind the silence. He refused to. Hajime. Hajime! His vision to the phone was cut off by Aikawa placing himself physically between him and the device. His eyes were glassy and he trembled, the shaking affecting Iwaizumi as well, where his hands had grabbed onto his arms. But his gaze was determined. Hajime, they found him. He was close to the train station in an alley, as he said. We need to get to the hospital. Now! The words barely registered, but he allowed the tall lad to pull him up to his feet. Matsun was there as well, putting on shoes hectically and reaching for his jacket. Slowly his senses returned, and Iwa was quick to follow their example. He reached for his keys, but Toto snatched them before he could. Not a chance. Matsun's driving. You are not stable enough, and neither am I. Iwaizumi wanted to protest, but couldn't, seeing the hand he extended shaking. He hadn't even noticed. At the hospital, they were sent to a waiting room. No explanation or answer to their questions was given except that Hanamaki was still in surgery. Aikawa had curled himself up on one of the chairs. His arms were wrapped tightly around himself. His finger dug into the fabric of his shirt to the point where it was painful. After a while, Matsukawa couldn't bear it anymore. He walked up to him and gently pried his hands open to take them into his own. Careful, you'll hurt yourself. His voice was strained, and before he knew it, Aikawa threw his arms around him and sobbed against his shoulder. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He hiccuped. If I had just... Shh. There's no use in asking what ifs. This isn't your fault. Not yours. Not Hajime's. And not mine. What ifs won't get us anywhere. Same goes for you, Hajime. He threw a stern look at the trainer, whose eyes were fixated on a spot in the distance, unmoving and unforgiving. All we can do now is move forward and make sure Hiro will recover fast. What if he doesn't? His eyes widened in horror, and he looked green in the face at the thought. Matsukawa hugged the setter even tighter. No more what ifs. Hiro is stubborn. He's gonna make it. He has to. His voice broke, and he could feel his own tears drenching the tallest shirt. Are you the family of Hanamaki Takahiro? A nurse guided the officer to them and led the small group of 5 into a separate room as they confirmed the statement. Once the door closed, all 4 focused their attention on the police officer. She nodded and motioned for them to sit down to talk. Aikawa, still weak on his knees, complied along with Matsukawa, but Iwaizumi refused. She started regardless. In which relation do you stand to Hanamaki-san? We are his partners. She nodded again. Emergency contacts as well? Yes. Can you please tell us how he's doing? I'm afraid no, but I can tell you what happened. Hanamaki Takahiro was involved in an attempted robbery. He was the victim in the case. The perpetrator threatened him with a knife and stabbed him once the situation escalated. We have him in custody now. He handed himself in. Why? His breathing was uneven and he couldn't do anything but hold on to his boyfriend for dear life. Iwaizumi too had lost his voice throughout the explanation, his throat too tight to speak as he was barely able to breathe. When will we know more? I'm afraid I don't know. But considering the circumstances, he was extremely lucky that paramedics were by his side to help so quickly. If you haven't gotten bad news yet, chances are he will recover. Thank you. Please make sure to rest and stay calm. The hospital staff will keep you informed. They couldn't do anything but nod silently and wait. And wait. Hours passed without news, and with every minute their anxiety got worse. They knew she was right. No bad news by now was a good sign, but it did little to calm the anxiety. It was 3 a.m. and none of them slept even for a second when finally, the nurse appeared again, another one this time, his eyes searching the waiting area. Family of Hanamaki Takahiro? Here! Haikyuu jumped up and almost fell if it wasn't for Iwaizumi supporting him and instinctively reaching out to catch the setter. Please, follow me. They walked down a long hallway, past dozens of doors until they reached one with Hanamaki's name on the patient file. The bleeding could be stopped, but he lost a lot of blood, and he's currently under the influence of heavy pain medications, so don't wonder if he acts a bit off. Be gentle and calm. He needs to rest. The attending doctor will give you the details of his injury and recovery tomorrow. They nodded and slowly walked into the room. They were both prepared and not at all for the sight that greeted them. Hanamaki was hooked up to a bunch of machines monitoring his vital functions and providing him with medication. Whoa, Toto, you look like shit. Haikyuu let out a wet laugh. How dare you? I look fabulous as always. It was way less convincing with all the tears and snot decorating his face. You all want to talk? Yeah, I must look pretty awful, huh? The worst. Asshole. They smiled at each other, though it was quickly replaced by tears as they surrounded him and, as gently as possible, took his hands or carefully stroked over his arms. I'm so glad you're alright, Hiro. His voice almost gave out on him. Me too. I'm so sorry for everything. None of that now. We can still talk about it when you are better. Issei, I just want it to be enough for you. But, Hiro, you are enough. You always were. Don't cry, Toto. You're such an ugly crier. He teased. Shut up. I love you. I love you so much. I love you too. We all do. Don't you dare think you're not enough for us. But later, they said you need to rest, so rest. We have all the time of the world. We have the rest of our lives. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. If you did, consider leaving a like so that this channel can grow and reach more people, and consider subscribing so you won't miss out on anything in the future, and consider leaving a comment with what you thought was best or worst about this video and your opinion. Yeah, just roast me in the comments. That's, I think, a wonderful idea. I consider making a bonus part to explain more of the backgrounds of why this happened. If you wanted, tell me if you do. And yeah, now a special thanks to my nerdy neckos. You're wonderful. These are amazing people that support this channel, which is it's so crazy. If you also want to become a nerdy necko, click the join button under this video. Check out my other social media and more videos, and I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. And oh my god, I'm running out of time.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a